It's Thursday, July 11th, 2024. Thanks for joining me today. As always, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Jotted down a bunch of notes here, printed up some articles. Feel free to comment on any of this. I'm sure everybody's ecstatic about the great CPI news we got today. I'm sure that your life is going to literally change now. If you believe any of this data, I have a bridge to sell you. But real quick, couple things that I've observed lately, and this just happened a couple days ago. Again, going to the grocery store and people in line. This happened a couple times for me now in the last few months. People in front of me not able to pay for their food, their cards declined. Many times what I've seen is people have to put items back because they don't have enough money. And multiple times now I've seen people's cards declined and they've had to walk out of the store with no food. And so I'm seeing more of this. Have you seen anything like this? More people having to put food back and more people being declined by their banks, unable to pay for their groceries. I've never seen this before, and I'm beginning to see it more and more. When I was training with Lionel the other day, he told me he was at the ATM and he looked at a couple of the ATM slips, receipts that were just laying around. $12 left in the account, $10, $20 left in an account. And I've looked at those slips too. Every once in a while when I go to an ATM, there'll be some slips laying around, and just by being curious, I'll take a look at them. $20 withdrawal, $0 left in the balance. 40 bucks balance, $2 balance, $0 balance. It's really, really amazing what's going on right now. People have no money. You go to the gas station, you look at the gas pumps, $5, $10, $12 of gas. That's what people are putting in their cars now. That's all they can do. Very rarely will you see somebody that is able to fill up their car, even though gas prices have come down. They are very elevated from where they were just a few years ago. Let's talk about yesterday. Fed Chairman Powell said holding rates high for too long could jeopardize economic growth. My question is, what if they don't hold high enough for long enough? If they do in September begin to cut rates, I think it's way too early, way too soon, and I think that they're going to jeopardize a lot more than just economic growth if they begin cutting rates this year. We're nowhere near 2%. Anybody that believes these CPI numbers that we got today, again, they're very, very manipulated. All you have to do is go to the store. All you have to do is pay your car insurance. All you have to do is pay a utility bill. And you know that we are nowhere near 2% inflation. The hedge today, soft landing or hard crash, question mark, the hidden danger in rate cuts. It says the entire world is begging, pleading, hoping, and setting all their models around the idea of a rate cut being the savior for markets this year. If you go back throughout history, a lot of times what will happen is when they begin cutting rates, the markets begin to tank. One thing I do believe is you're going to see gold and silver really run once they begin cutting. I still don't believe they're going to cut this year, maybe one time. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not going to change my life. My gold and silver will go up. But one thing I think we better all realize is if they begin cutting rates, you're going to see more inflation. You're going to be paying more. Yes, you'll be able to borrow money a little cheaper, but you're going to be paying a lot more for a lot of things. You'll be paying more for food. You'll probably be paying more for a house. You'll be paying more for rent. These things will all just keep going up because they're going to just flood the system again with cheap money, and people are going to get deeper and deeper into debt. So your purchasing power is going to be impaired, in my opinion. As I make this video today, gold up $43, silver up 75 cents. Gold is well over $2,400 now. I think it's around $2,420. Oil up $1, over $83 a barrel. How is that not inflationary? We're going to see oil prices continue to go up, and God forbid something blows up over in the Middle East, you're going to see more problems with oil, and it is going to be extremely inflationary. And remember, everything needs oil: planes, trains, ships, automobiles, trucks, and that means everything on the shelves at your stores is going to go up too, right along with oil prices. CPI rose 3% in June of 2024 from a year earlier, a decline from 3.3% in May. Households have seen, it says right here on CNBC, households have seen relief for staples like groceries and gasoline. I have not seen any relief at the grocery store whatsoever. And if you want to talk about relief with gas prices, national gas price back in 2020 was around $2.28. Today it's $3.54. So, $1.20, $1.30 more than you were paying 3 years ago. And when we were in Texas a few years back, it was like $1.80, $1.90. There is no way inflation is sitting at 3%. No way whatsoever. It's absolutely laughable. And then reading this article today, rising shipping costs hit global trade hard. So all those once cheap products from overseas, they're not so cheap anymore because it's costing more to ship these products. Fuel prices are going up. And of course, the effects of things happening in the Red Sea, the Panama Canal, it's all being felt around the world. A 40-foot container, the price for a 40-foot container is up 233% compared to the same time a year ago. How is that not inflationary? And they're going to tell us that inflation is 3%. Ship owners are confronted with higher insurance premiums as the risk of losing a vessel has dramatically increased, especially in the Red Sea. These ships are attacked all the time. So these products are getting much, much more expensive. And this is a big problem. When you're a country that relies on the rest of the world to make products for you like we do, our GDP, 70% of our GDP is consumer-based, consumption, people buying stuff with money they don't have, going to Walmart, going to Target, going to Kohl's, buying stuff made in other countries. And now it's getting more and more expensive because of fuel costs and the threat of these ships being blown up. It's getting more and more expensive. And so as a country, we're now reliant for many, many years because we shipped all of our manufacturing to these countries, all of our jobs, just so we could have cheap products. And now, as our dollar buys less, as there's problems in the Panama Canal, the water is very, very low, the violence in the Red Sea, prices going up, fuel prices, all this inflation. Now, as we're reliant on these other countries, what happens when this stuff doesn't get here? What happens when the costs just explode? Wouldn't it have just been smarter to make things right here in America? I mean, doesn't that just make sense? If we were manufacturing our own pharmaceuticals, our own chips, our own products right here in America, dependent on ourselves, wouldn't that just make us a stronger nation economically, geopolitically? It just really blows my mind that people think and thought that this was a good idea to send all of our jobs, especially manufacturing jobs, overseas. And now think about the leverage that a country like China has when it says, if you want to sanction us or if you want to be confrontational, we'll just cut your pharmaceuticals off. We'll just stop selling things to you so your store shelves go empty. We'll just stop. We act like China needs us. No, we need China, because if China stops shipping pharmaceuticals and goods to America, this economy stops immediately. People start dying immediately because they're not getting their medications. We are more dependent on China than China being dependent on America. China is going to sell to countries all over the world. All these new emerging markets, all the BRIC nations, they dwarf America in size. They're very large. They're growing. They're going to become much wealthier nations as they get away from the US dollar and the US financial system. And so China is going to be less and less dependent on America, and it is going to be selling product all over the world, and it's not going to need America much, much longer. Pepsi warns U.S. snack demand subdued as consumer slowdown worsens, but we're being told that everything's good and inflation's coming down. inflation isn't going down, it's just going up slower. We're still paying way more for everything than we were, 3.5, 4 years ago. Consumers continue to dial back. It says snack demand was subdued in the second quarter. Sales volumes showed declines. When you go to the store, if you look at a bag of chips, a basic bag of potato chips, it is unbelievable how expensive a bag of potato chips is today. And it's getting bad in America when people are pulling back, from buying cheese puffs and nachos. This is a real big indicator that things are really, really getting tough out there, because when people cannot buy their junk food, when they cannot buy their cheese puffs, it's really getting bad. Here's another one today. This is from Fox Business. BMW recalls over 390,000 vehicles in the United States over airbag issues. Here we go again with quality control. This is the BMW 3 Series and the Sportswagen models. It says here the present airbag has been found to be susceptible to rupture after several years of exposure to high temperatures and humidity. And so these things can be literally time bombs in your car, literally like a grenade going off in your face. So very, very dangerous situation here. And I'm watching another video today of an airplane. It was an American Airlines plane, maybe the Florida area. Not quite sure where it was landing, and a wheel fell off or a tire blew out and started a fire. And it's just every day we're watching more and more situations with these airplanes. The one that I was talking about, I think it was yesterday, where the wheel just fell off the airplane. It was a day or two ago, and it's just flying down the runway as this plane is taking off. It really makes you think twice about flying. We look at the quality control of our automobiles, our SUVs, our trucks, our airplanes, Boeing having so many issues, and just watching this today, this could have been really catastrophic. Thank God it was not, and nobody got hurt, but it did start a fire. And it just really makes you question what is going on with the quality control with the things that we are making in America. Here's one from the Wall Street Journal. The president and Texas officials spar over hurricane response as power outages persist. This is the Wall Street Journal. As I make this video, over 1.5 million people in Texas have no power yet. Power has not been restored. Temperatures are in the 90s. And I've got to remind everybody again, do you have enough food and water at home? Do you have enough preparations? My heart goes out to the people in the Houston area of Texas. Make sure we say a prayer for these people. I hope that a lot of these people were prepared. But think about right here today, it's 119 degrees today as I make this video. If the power went out here, we would be losing a lot of human life quickly, very, very quickly. It is in the 90s in Texas. It's a little bit more humid, but we've got humidity here today at 119. I couldn't even imagine going one day without power here in the desert. But if we didn't have it, we would survive it. We have plenty of food, plenty of water. It would be extremely uncomfortable, but I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. My family's in pretty good shape. Physically, that we would be able to weather the storm. It would not be fun, would not be comfortable. It would be grueling. A lot of people would die out here because it is just so hot. And I can tell you, utility bills out here, if you want to talk about inflation, you should see the utility bills people are getting out here in the desert. Reuters, California is to prepare for power conservation. I thought this was interesting. Be prepared to conserve energy as power demand rises over extreme heat. So they're asking people between certain hours to cut back. They will cut your power off here. It's happened many times. Brownouts, blackouts, and you can go hours without power here. And we've had power out for 4 hours because they'll shut it down. And on a day like today, 4 hours, it begins to get a little uncomfortable. But I was just thinking, could you imagine, this state wants everybody to be driving an electric vehicle. Everybody needs to be driving an EV. Yet they're telling you to, shut down your air conditioning between this hour and this hour. We're doing brownouts, so you won't have power for 2 hours here. You may not have power for 4 hours over here. What if everybody was driving an EV in the state of California? What would this do to the grid in California? This makes no sense whatsoever. Already, they're cutting power. They're asking you to cut your own power, but they want you to drive an electric vehicle. This makes no sense whatsoever. Comment on any of this down below, and please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. The AP, U.S. Coast Guard patrol spots Chinese naval ships off Alaska Island. I mean, here we go. We're talking yesterday about sending F-16s over to Ukraine. We're training the pilots. We're just escalating things over there in Eastern Europe. A U.S. Coast Guard cutter on routine patrol in the Bering Sea came across several Chinese military ships in international waters. They were in international waters, 4 military ships in total off the coast of Alaska. I mean, there is just so much happening. When I see all the military vehicles right here off Interstate 10 on the railway, and I see people posting from other parts of California, other parts of the country, all this military equipment. We had the nuclear sub off the coast of Florida, about 10 days ago? And now we've got 4 Chinese military ships off the coast of Alaska. A lot of things happening, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that we all better be preparing. And I know that a lot of people don't like when I continue to repeat preparation. I think it scares some people. Maybe some people are bored by it, but I have got to continue to repeat that you must be preparing mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. And you know, don't make excuses of why you can't do this, you can't do that. You may have to make sacrifices. You may have to work a little bit more. You may have to cut something out of your life. You may have to make the time. You know, there's people out there saying that they cannot prepare. They can't do this or they can't do that because they don't have the time. Here's a news flash. You got to make the time. You've got plenty of time to do other things. You got to make the sacrifice. You got to cut something out of your time to make sure that you're putting something else in that time slot to prepare. Too many excuses where people just go, I don't have the time to learn the skill. I don't have the time to get better at this or to get better at that. I don't have the money to do this or that. You got to make the time. You got to make the sacrifice. You will regret if you are not preparing right now. You know, there's people that live in gated communities that think they're going to be safe because they live in a gated community. That is a false sense of security. I just hear so many excuses out there. And look, I'm not perfect. I could be more prepared myself. But you've got to ask yourself right now, how prepared are you? What are the weak links that you have in your game right now? You know what they are. Too many people are afraid to address the weak links. They don't want to sacrifice the time, the energy, or the money to strengthen up those weak links. And the one thing is that you got to have the mental mindset. You got to have the mental mindset. You know, too many people out there go, oh, I have all the gear. I have this, I have that. You know, I've got the bug out bags. I got the generators. I got all the tools. I've got all the food. I've got all that. The one thing you don't have is the warrior mindset, the mental mindset. You can have all the gear. You can have all the toys. You can do show and tell all you want. But if you cannot walk the walk, if you don't have it up here, if you're not willing to fight, it doesn't matter what you have. You will lose. And if you can't make the time to strengthen those weak links, then you're not really preparing and you're not really walking the walk, and you will lose. You are setting yourself up for failure. You are setting yourself up to lose. Every day, we should be putting the odds in our favor. We should be putting everything we can into our skill set so that we have the advantage with whatever happens, natural disaster, man-made disaster, social collapse, financial collapse, whatever it may be. You can have all the toys, all the cool stuff, all the gear, but if you don't have the mindset right here to engage and to win, you're going to lose. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Please, again, like, share, and subscribe. Be careful out there. Be training. Be proficient. Get in the best shape of your life. Know how to use your body to defend yourself. It's great that you're getting in great shape, but if you don't have the skills, Doesn't matter how many push-ups you can do. Nobody's going to care. Nobody cares how much money you make. Nobody cares about what you drive. Nobody cares about how many sit-ups you can do. Can you defend yourself? Do you have skills? This is not a fitness competition. It's not a bodybuilding competition. Do you have the skills to survive? Can you protect you? Can you protect your family? Can you protect your assets? That is the question. Be safe. God bless.